Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, where you may be listening from. My name's Omar. Welcome to That Millwall Podcast, Monday Night Live, post Derby County, which saw Lions win 1-0 on Saturday, courtesy of a Josh Cînn goal in the 95th minute. It doesn't get much better than that. But I've got Frankie with me tonight. Hello, mate. How are you?
Very good, mate. It's always fun doing these after winning it. So look forward to the show, mate.
It makes it that bit much sweeter, doesn't it, mate? I think we'll get on to the nitty-grittiness of the game and stuff. But when you go away from home, we've been spoilt this season. It's the second one, isn't it? Obviously, Casper Denore at Swansea. We've had a couple good away days of late as well. At 12:30 kickoffs, which hopefully is a good omen for a game on Saturday, you could say. But it just makes it all the better, doesn't it, mate? It doesn't matter how it comes sometimes away from home. Just getting that goal at the end is perfect.
Yeah, 3 points, isn't it, mate? You can't turn your nose up, as I said, no matter how they come.
Exactly. Right, I'm going to do the little boring pre-read. So if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe and like the video. If you're listening on audio, please leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Podcasts, wherever you may consume your media from. Be sure to also come and join us on YouTube. We're live on a Monday tonight. We've done 2 Mondays in a row. We typically try to do it on Sundays, but Sunday or Monday, but definitely on a Friday. You can join us at 8 p.m. on YouTube to either preview or recap a game. And also, if you've got anything to contribute, there's a few of you in the chat today. Hello to Leslie. Hello to Alex. Hello to Chris, Matt, Carl, Gary, and Danny. Hello, boys. We'll go straight to the intro anyway, and then we'll talk all things Derby County and a 1-0 win away from home. I should have cued the intro. Here it is now.
Language you don't usually hear on television. Millwall in London's Dockland.
No one likes it, but we don't care. We're That Millwall Podcast. Loud every Friday night right here. Legends like Jimmy and Drew, Teddy Sheringham in the kitchen at 2. Super Neil Harris, a fucking legend too. Through the good times and in this life, we support the Lions all our life. This ain't no place for fancy feet. This is fucking Millwall through and through. Located on our very own John Pennison way. Let them walk on, let them have their say. Millwall till we die. With That Millwall Podcast, loud every Friday night right here.
So, coming in, Frankie, give me your thoughts from Saturday just briefly, and the same to the chat. I'll be sure to read them out. If you've got any questions, be sure to let us know. But Frankie, Saturday, 1-0 win. Give me a brief synopsis of the game, mate, and how you felt it went.
I thought we were a better team. If it finished 0-0 with the penalty, I think you'd probably felt a little bit aggrieved. But over the course of the night, I don't think there was that much in it, to be completely honest. I still think you can tell that some of our forward players are trying to get used to each other and trying to find their feet a little bit. There's obviously a lot of change in them areas, so you'd expect that. But 90-minute win, can't complain. Still in the hunt for the playoffs, aren't we, just about?
Just about, mate. I think it's still 6 points, isn't it? I think all the other teams above still won, didn't they, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, yeah, I mean, we kept ourselves in the dog hunt, you're right. I think it's an outside chance, but look, if you win your away games, I think, especially the away games we're coming up at the minute, we're on 45 points. Obviously, Blackburn on 51, and so are West Brom. Blackburn lost at the weekend, didn't they? 3-0 to Swansea. So the wheels feel like they're definitely coming off that bus. Obviously, Derby poached their manager, or he's applied for the job anyway and took it on. So, yeah, I mean, it's, a win away from home, mate. I think it was interesting, the team lineup. I think we kind of called it and felt a lot of that was going to happen anyway, didn't we? I think we had Jensen in goal, which I think might be a talking point, but I don't really want to talk about him again and again and again just to stop the clamour there. Crammer right back, Tanganga and Cooper with Joe Bryan left back, Saville returned in midfield with Casper Denore, Negley off the right, Aziz off the left with Kundal in the 10 behind the Serb. Who was like your standouts from the game anyway? I think for me, Tristan Crammer got my man of the match, but who was your kind of standout from the game, mate?
I completely agree about Crammer. I thought he looked back to the high standards he set of himself, and he was a constant threat down the right hand side, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. I thought the other one that stood out, and I think he struggled in aspects, but you can see there's definitely a player there, was probably Negley.
Mm-hmm.
I thought going forward, you could see that he was constantly trying to create things, constantly trying to get on the front foot. I thought in particular in the second half, once he made a couple of changes and got him into the middle, he looked really dangerous. So, no, I thought Negley looked really good, mate.
Yeah.
That for you?
I'll come on to Negley in a minute. I think Crammer, I just want to ask the chat as well what they thought of Crammer, because Matt Webb's here got Crammer man of the match on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you, Matt. I think he just made, I don't know, I think he's a right back. He's clumsy, he's gangly. You see him take a throw, and it's every time it's a foul throw, it feels like. And I think people on Twitter were talking about it the other day as well. I saw it briefly. But he's effective, isn't he, mate? And it's like he's marauding runs down the right. He gets a bit of a head of steam on as well, doesn't he? It's like, I don't know. There's something to him that just it's excitable watching him play, and you know what he's gonna do. I think everyone knows what he's gonna do, but he still manages to execute it almost. Do you get what I mean?
100%, mate. I think maybe some of that unorthodox approach to how he carries the ball, how he dribbles, beating a man. It reminds me a little bit of when Murray Wallace used to be throwing out Cruyff turns at left, right, and centre, and just beating people. You're thinking, what are you doing, mate? And it's not too dissimilar. But I think he just catches everyone off guard every week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he continues his form, I mean, obviously he's an absentee at the weekend, but you got a feeling he's going to hold down the right back position for a little while. Leonard's rumours be not far away as anticipated, but if like a second half of the player of the season existed, especially since him signing, he's been probably the standout player since mid-January when he came into the side. It's fair to say. I don't think you could put anyone else in there. Maybe the Serb as a contestant for that, or obviously Tanganga's always just there and present and does his thing. But he's probably been the standout of the bunch. I feel like
Now you say it, mate. The more I think about it, if you ignore Tanganga, who's obviously head and shoulders above everyone, if you take him out, he probably is player of the season, isn't he?
So far, yeah, for the second half of the season for sure. Like,
which is weird to say. It's weird to say for January signing, but you think Ivanovic weren't that good, weren't getting minutes first half of the season. Who else was there?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And he obviously came in at a time where Leonard was the right back. He gets injured, and the Cram couldn't ask for better opportunities coming to the side, and he's took it with both hands really. And you can't fault him. I want to get a trial going of these one day, but it's probably a conversation another day when I've had a few beers. But Cram looked back to his best, says Alex S. His final ball isn't great though, in my opinion. I do agree with that. I think someone else also mentioned it here. Where was it? That run through the middle. Yeah, like it was the final. Like it's I think it was 85th, 90th minute. I think it was around the time. I can't remember if it was before the penalty or after the penalty. But he just picks the ball up. He also is in front of the away, so he drops the shoulder. So like he sends the player the other way, drops the shoulder with his own ball, with his back to goal. Kind of that's also to our goal we'll shoot it at. Drops the ball and goes. And it's like, firstly, outrageous from someone that's 6'4" and is centre off by trade, right? Almost like the Murray Wallace kind of Cruyff turn, like you say, mate. And on he goes, and he's just going. I think a few of the boys, and I think people also in the chat are saying it's a bit critical, the final pass, maybe he should have laid it off. But I feel like when you ran the length of the pitch from right back when you're centre half, I don't begrudge it almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, he kind of like, he's done that. He also had the effort in the first half. I think they got a deflection or something that stops it from
quite early. Yeah.
So he's got that kind of edge to him, and maybe he's a shooting for a goal sooner rather than that as well, mate.
That run in the second half, you almost got the impression he maybe had one too many options, and he got a little bit caught in two minds of, do I go out right, do I go left, or do I have a pop and go, and end up doing nothing. But still, to be doing that when you're a centre back is ridiculous. So,
very well, his comparison is good. I've been using the Andy Frampton comparison when he got player of the season quite a lot, many years ago now. But Mario's comparison is obviously there as well, because obviously he got player of the season well, didn't he? Danny Chappell says Crammer was class. Actually, the back four played well. The Chelsea bloke played well too when he came on. We'll come on to Sack Sturgeon in a short while, because I think that's definitely a good talking point for sure. Surprised he got man of the match as David Turner. I think we have got used to seeing how good Tanganga is, and he was back to his best on Saturday, wasn't he, mate? I think you could maybe question a couple of performances by his very high standards of late. It's fair to say, but yeah, I mean, Carl's obviously reiterated here. Tanganga is the best player in the league. We are very lucky to have him. I think I've shouted it a few times on my social media, but almost the best player I've seen play for Millwall in my lifetime, to be honest. Like, just head and shoulders above a lot of what we've got and what we've had previously for the time I've been watching Millwall. But yeah, I mean, Tanganga, he definitely was back to his best on Saturday, wasn't
he? Yeah, 100%. While we're on Tanganga, what did you make of penalty, mate, when he went down?
Do what, sorry?
What did you make of the penalty when Tanganga went down? Penalty for you or not?
Well, when he made the tackle for Derby?
When the Derby player went through the back of him a little bit and he went over.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, probably. I can't confess to have watched it back, to be honest. I think the game just kind of passed by, but yeah, we've obviously got the penalty through COVID, didn't we, as well? But yeah, I think it's obviously a talking point there, wasn't it? But also, Danny says here anyway, people forget how we've been playing since Cooper back in the team. He's so underrated. I'd argue him and Tanganga just complement each other very well, and it helps each other out at times, for sure. 100%. Gary Tower here, 6'4" players can't take short throw into feet. They can only throw it long. Yeah, very true.
He can't do that either, to be fair, mate. His throw-ins are terrible. Like, comically bad. Comically.
Yeah, for sure. Sammy Feasy, are we talking about the Palace game? We can do if you want to later on, but I think obviously we'll say it for probably Friday, I imagine, when we start to preview that. But I'm sure, I can't go show about mentioning that we got Palace at the weekend, I'm sure, but we'll come on to it, no doubt, in a bit. No pen from Danny Mill in answer to your question, mate. When Tango is average, we class it as poor. That's how good he is. I totally agree with you, Alex. And no pen for me on Tanganga as well from David. Initially, I thought it was a pen, says Matt. Saw it back, no pen, but I've seen them given. We didn't get a penalty eventually, didn't we? I thought Coburn, it was from where we were, it's the literally opposite side of the ground, the opposite corner, basically. It did look like almost like I thought the player almost took him and the ball almost. I don't know if I've not seen it back, but clear cut was the penalty shot for Coburn.
I've seen it a couple of times now, mate, and I still think it's soft. I think if it was given against us, I'd probably be sitting there saying referees had a nightmare. He might have clipped him, but going away from goal, minimal contact. I'm not convinced, to be completely honest. It doesn't matter now, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was a bit soft, mate.
I did think that as well at the time. Like the Tanganga shout, I think maybe more convincing at the time. What I felt like actually when I was thinking back to the game being there. But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, we get the penalty. We kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but seeing as we're on the subject of the penalties, Danny Mill also says need to practice pens this week though. I've got this fear in my head if we go to penalties against who on Saturday. I can't say the name right now because obviously I'm going to peak too early. But yeah, the penalties of late, unbelievable, right? The two misses we've had. I mean, they're the worst type of penalty where they don't even hit a corner or try and go middle and top. It's just they're kind of dragging it, ain't they, to the left of it. And it's like the keeper's made a save, fair play, I guess is the right way, but poor, right?
Oh, awful, mate. If you're going to go down the middle, you've got to put a bit of pace in it. You've got to proper smash it and make it hard for the keeper, or be clever and dink it a little bit so it's got at least a little bit of air on it. But yeah, just slowing along the floor down the middle of the goal, you're never scoring that, are you? Both of them are terrible. And there's a question here from Matt around. I think you'll get to a bit around who our penalty taker is.
Yes,
I have no idea. Who is our penalty taker? Who's the best one?
Who would have took it on? Because Coburn obviously came on, and so did Connolly that day. Connolly came on to sub, put himself forward to take it against Luton, and then the same thing happened. Obviously on Saturday, Coburn comes on as a sub. I reckon the Serb might have maybe been on penalties. I suspect it was interesting because from where we were, it was obviously like I said the other side of the ground. But Negley went up to him to try and take the ball off him. I felt like. Thankfully, he didn't come into a scuffle or anything like that because you do see it happen quite a lot, obviously. But it was interesting because I think Negley went up to him and comes like, "I'm having this," and he's not a good ball striker. I don't think. Do you know what I mean? Like his technique, Coburn. Coburn. It's not his technique's not quite. I would rather Negley take it. I think obviously in answer to the question, who is the club penalty taker? Patrick Barrett says here Joe Bryan on pen surely, but Bryan was on the pitch against Luton, didn't put himself forward for it either. So I don't know who is our penalty taker, mate.
I think we seem to be just at the minute. It feels like whoever picks the ball up feels confident, gets it, which long term doesn't feel like a particularly. Well, it's not working, is it? So they've got to do something. But there's a Negley I would rather even Saville. You think experienced head used to take free kicks. He's not that bad on a dead ball. Like surely he can take a penalty compared to these two. He's got better than that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Matt Webb says here, the last two penalties have been taken by the players that get fouled. Obviously, Coburn and Connolly, because Connolly also got fouled against Luton. So there is no management on this matter. I can't believe we're not letting. It's a dead ball opportunity. The XG of it, I think, is 0.8 or something. They say that the chances, obviously, it's an 80% chance of scoring from the spot. You're not just going to leave it open to interpretation on the pitch, are you? Because that's when it starts to get messy. Like, I mean, I'm thinking back to the Luton game. Who did Connolly come on for? Because I felt like I remember leaving at the time, maybe saying maybe it would have been the person that went off. I can't remember who actually came on from at the time.
Was it Scanlon?
It might have been. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. So maybe it wasn't him. No, I think Scanlon could sort out the first half. I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, anyway. But, I mean, it's true. Like, you see that. And it's the coincidence there is obviously they've been the person that's been fouled. But surely we're not leaving it to that. We'll see anyway. Ivanovic or Negley should be taken there from Chris Brown. The good thing with Brian on pens is he'll never put it over the bar as his free kicks don't clear the wall from Patrick there. I'd have Negley, but hindsight is a great thing, says Alex S. Sam Feasy says Cooper. I mean, after his penalty against Brighton, mate, in the FA Cup quarter-final, I don't want to see Cooper anywhere near a penalty ever again.
Let's not talk about FA Cup penalties, though. It's not the 10th fight.
Yeah, I know. Well, I honestly think it's going to be close on the weekends. We'll talk about it right now. But yeah, Scanlon did come on. Scanlon did come off for Connolly. So maybe Scanlon wouldn't have took the penalty, I don't think. But yeah, it's interesting anyway. Ivanovic at the moment, he's full of confidence, says John Part. I totally agree. Can't see Pens on Saturday. If Palace don't take us seriously, then we are into the next round, says David Turner. If they put their full strength team out, then we may struggle. I could see Mateta versus Cooper being an absolute battle, but we're not here to talk about that game. So, with no designated penalty taker and Neil having no knowledge of the BFS, being able to take a direct free kick does make you wonder what set piece work we do in training, says Alex Gidley. Good point, Alex.
In Neil's defence, he probably hasn't still had that much time on the training ground with them, so they're probably more working on shape and stuff, and he probably hasn't had them taking penalties. We only get one a year, so the fact we've got 2 or 3 this season is mental.
For sure. Before we come to the goal, so as the game went on, what was so you said you felt like we probably edged it. I think the second half we had to ride our luck at times, though, right? I mean, they hit the post, they hit the bar, it rise to Jensen. I felt like it was a bit of an inevitability about it. Like, don't know what people thought when they're watching it. Like, it was for me when you're watching the game play out. Like, it's almost like it's inevitable something's going to happen. Like, they're going to score a goal eventually because the crowd's getting going. And fair play to Derby. Like, when that stadium gets going, it was making a bit of a noise to it. But I was thinking, it's a matter of time before they score it. Do you know what I mean? I think what we got to credit though, and I think something we said on the pre-show on Friday, our bench as opposed to theirs, obviously bringing Coburn on, bringing Amaku on, who we're going to come to in a minute because there's a comment in here from Marco I've started. It's making a difference, isn't it? Like 2 of them linking up, obviously Saville involved in that goal as well, but they're having them options from the bench. It's his reigning president, isn't it, mate? Especially when you play a side that's struggling at home and not won this year.
100%, and I think it's something that we normally look at other sides and think that's an area where we might lose a game because other sides got stronger bench. So for us to be able to look at the bench and make impactful substitutions, and I mean, credit to Neil. I was critical after pressing. I thought he got a lot of it wrong. You can argue the subs in this game maybe won us the game.
Yeah,
potentially. So
I think so. Yeah, the impact from the bench, having fresh legs come on like Amaku and Coburn. Coburn has his critics, funny enough, but I kind of understand some of the logic from it when I was reading it on social media. But you're having them options coming on to make a real impact, and they've brought on Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, who is flat to deceive in previous times at various clubs and almost had his peak. Kamara Roof comes off the bench too. It's not too dissimilar to once upon a time when we got Marhoff and DJ Campbell coming off the bench under Ian Holloway. Do you know what I mean? And look at where that ended up for us. Do you know what I mean? So you do feel for Derby, but that's the victim of their environment, right? I suppose. And you can see with us, we bring on young players, keen to make an impression. It is telling a difference almost. And I think someone name dropped Billy Mitchell. I thought he also come on and, put himself about a bit and done his job, right?
Yeah, much needed legs and gave us some more impetus, didn't he? I think to your point about the game in general, I thought in the first half hour we were a much better side. And then got really scrappy and just sort of stayed like that. I don't think we really got any control back until Billy come on. And then suddenly we had some more legs in midfield and we were able to, we had a couple of people that could carry the ball forward, and that made a massive difference. And I thought Billy was great. Yeah,
I agree. And I think in the first half, even though despite the dominance, we never tested the goalkeeper, I felt. Do you know, like, there's a lot of moments where I feel how I kind of summed up in my post-match on Saturday night, it felt like we was having a lot of joy in the wide areas and flashing balls across the box, and no one's getting on the end of it. There was a couple of times I'm thinking, can the Serb kind of commit to it and try and get on to the end of it? Do you know what I mean? And but also, like, maybe that was something that's also how we're playing, because we're playing down the wide areas. There's not enough bodies in the box, it feels like. We're not getting enough players in committed. And Kundal's the kind of player that I think he had his poorest game for us so far, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Kundal. I think he's going to be amazing for us for the next 3, 4, 5 years, hopefully. And I think he's someone that we could really rely on. But we didn't really play through him enough. And I think he was a bit lightweight. And I think I'll come on to Negley as well. I was his biggest critic, to be fair, for the first 75 minutes. But as you mentioned, when we got more of a hold on the game and he started to get on the ball a bit more towards the end, you could see it. But I think he was a passenger, especially when Derby kept coming back at us. I think Matt says here, for me, I didn't have any fear.
Comfortable, was he?
Yeah, he says, for me, I didn't have any fear that Derby would win. I could only see a draw. I'll tell you what, when I'm watching this game play out in the second half, from about minute 50 to minute 75, it was just constant pressure from Derby. And they're missing the quality, like we've mentioned, but it felt like it was also inevitable that they're going to get the goal, like I said. And players like Negley, I feel like you're carrying them when you're under that sustained pressure, because Negley is a player that makes the impact going forward. But when you've got Kundal, Negley there, what we've got to say is Negley got better when George Holman came on to buzz around and do the hard work, you could say. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's the best say sometimes.
100%, mate. I think I think Honeyman definitely freed Negley up to come more infield and start carrying the ball more. I think I said it earlier, but we probably saw it more so with Kundal. He obviously wants to bounce the ball off people and start linking the play.
Yeah.
When he doesn't know who he's playing with, that's really hard for him to do, and he's probably struggling in that aspect. Should have scored in the second half, got in front of his man. You made a point earlier about in the first half, obviously not. I think the first shot on target for either side was an 82nd minute, which is horrific. But there were a couple of times in that first half, I think, to your point around Ivanovic, there was 2 or 3 occasions where thinking, get in front of your man, attack it rather than going behind or going to the back post. Just make a little dart in front of him, and you'll get that 9 times out of 10, and you'll probably get yourself some easy goals. And I think there was one where their centre back sort of it bounced off his knee, hit him in the face, and then when it fell into their keeper's hands. If Ivanovic was there, he scores that easy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Behind him. But the positive was, I thought Aziz's delivery from the left-hand side was exceptional. Once again, I thought, I didn't think that was his game. So I'm really surprised every week by how good his delivery into the box actually is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's a threat, and I always just call him to take players on because he's got that turn of pace on him as well. And I just want him to beat the man. That's what I want a Mill winger to do, to be honest. And I think he does that, and he gets that kind of half a yard, whips it in. And I think with the serve, he's not necessarily the fox in the box, is he? He's not like I'm not going to call Bradshaw a fox in the box either, but Bradshaw was busy in the box. His movement was a bit more kind of lively and latching onto things. Whereas the serve is kind of, I think he plays on the shoulder. I don't know who I'd compare him to be honest, the serve, because he's got a bit of everything, but he's obviously young, so he's still nurturing. I'd say he's not a master of anything, but he's got the all-round ability that you can see is going to come good eventually. So it'd be interesting. I mean, we'll read some of the comments anyway I've got on here. Sammy Freezy says, should have Bangor should have come on or started. He was actually injured, wasn't he? He was not available, so I don't know how long he's out for. But am I drinking a bottle of wine? No, I'm drinking a bottle of Star of Ramen. Frankie said the exact same thing to me before we started the show.
I'm glad he said that, because I thought, mate, it's pretty sweet, mate.
Yeah, I've got that, and I've also got a bottle of Heineken. So there you go. Happy Monday, everyone. We won on Saturday, so why not, right? Negley's still adapted to the English game, says Matt Webb. He'll get better. Exciting prospect. Absolutely no doubt on that. I think my point is, though, you could just, especially Derby didn't punish us, but if we're going to Ellen Road or, for example, Preston the other night when it was just that constant pressure, you can almost understand why Alex Neil didn't bring him on. But like I said, and I reiterate, I actually think Negley got more involved in the game and had more of an impact when he had Honeyman next to him to do the hard work. And that was something I used to say a lot. I don't remember Frank as well, like I said about with Essay at the club. When Essay kind of came in this season and kind of kicked off the season, he got Honeyman in the 10, which was getting obviously a lot of criticism, and rightly so, because that's not a number 10. He's not that position. But him doing the leg work and doing the donkey work for someone like a more talented player like Essay, you saw what Essay done on occasions where less defensive responsibility at times, it kind of enabled him. And I felt like I said on Saturday, you could see that Negley came into it, and we'll talk about the goal now. He obviously was part of the build-up and then gave it to Amaku once we won the ball. Then he kind of made a long busting run next to him. But, you know, Amaku done the business, crossed it in, Saville obviously forced it safe from the keeper, and Coburn scores. Let's talk about that goal, but obviously Amaku coming off the bench as well, mate, because he seems to be coming on a bit more.
Yeah, again, I thought Amaku when he came on had such an impact. And it's a bit of a shame for him because he's maybe just proven that he is an impact player. Although he had that great game against, I think it was Blackburn before he got injured. But before the goal, he obviously played the ball through for Coburn for the penalty, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I mean, had a major hand in both bits of play there. His pace is just so dangerous at that stage of a game. And as you said, you talk about Aziz wants to just take people on. Every time Amaku gets ball at his feet, you're thinking, just run at people. No one's going to want to get engaged, particularly once you get into the area. You're just asking someone to dangle a leg or do something stupid. He's so dangerous. If he can stay fit, you can't help but feel that's a proper weapon that most sides don't have off the bench.
Definitely. I think Carl Bracey, I got a comment from him that I marked earlier on. He says, I would unleash Amaku against Palace in the second half, frightening the hell out of Palace and Judas Essay. He is that impact, isn't he? Like that's unleash him in the second half, he says. That he doesn't say start him because we've seen him start on occasion, nowhere near enough because I touch wood, it doesn't happen for him. But unfortunately for him, it's like he gets that run of games and he gets injured. You know, I don't want to call him a BTEC Mason Bennett. I don't mean that at all. But Mason Bennett was a similar sort of player at times where you get a run of games under him. Sean Hutchinson the same. You got a few other players in past that you can think of. You're giving them run of games. You want them to kind of kick on, and then they get injured and they pull up injured. I think them sort of players as well, though, like they're susceptible to the calf injuries or hamstring injuries, aren't they? And it just seems to be with him, like he's not yet managed to get that fine balance to obviously keep himself fresh for games and not get injured. But his pace is lightning, and you're right. I think Harris called him like the impact from the bench kind of thing, and shoehorned him into a sub impact, but. You see his real benefit to that. That is what he offers a lot in abundance, you feel like. A question here from, a comment from Quinn a little bit earlier. The players seem to have a unified outlook now. The newer players seem to fit and the older ones seem to have an understanding of where they fit. We still need to bed down and just keep up the effort. Thoughts on that? I think not far off.
No, I completely agree, mate. I think that the bit that I really agree with is just bedding down and keeping up the effort. I think when we tend to drop off, it's when the effort rate drops off. And we're still not a side that can play at 70% and win games of football at this level.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I completely agree. The new players do seem to be fitting in well, and the older players are maybe accepting that there's a contract on the table for them if they perform between now and the end of the season.
Interesting take there. Yeah, you're right. Comment from Dean Turner. Do you feel that our players are being bullied off the ball? Need to get back into the gym. That'd be well, Dean, by the way, mate. Yeah, a bit. Like I said, I think with Negley and Kundal, they're offensive players, ain't they? They're not, you want them to do the legwork, but they are sometimes sensible, aren't they? To, kind of that kind of pressure, and obviously if a big defender's on them, they don't seem to offer too much, do they?
No, not at all, mate. I think this is bang on. I think a lot of the times you do think we lack a little bit of physicality. Mm-hmm. The one that does really get me, I don't want to slag him off because he's been great for us and he's still a kid himself, but you look at Ivanovic sometimes, you think the size of you, the presence of you're strong enough, you're just not aggressive enough. Mm-hmm. I think it's a mentality thing. So, but I do think we've got a lot of players that, given time, will come into themselves, improve physically, and get more aggressive and more physical in that sense. So I wouldn't worry too much, but it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, for sure. I do agree with you. I think it's like, it feels like they're young. They're not ready. They don't finish the deal. We know that, and I suppose we've got to kind of tolerate this almost because you see that quality. Like I say with Ivanovic, he seems to have a bit of everything, and it's just trying to unlock it so he can develop them skills. And he's only 20 years old. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to come for him. Comments on the Amaku comment from us. Mark Murphy. I don't think Amaku's quite ready to start yet. Patrick Barrett. Amaku works well off the bench only. I like him, but far too raw at the moment. Needs to earn his stripes. Yeah, he is a bit rough around the edges, ain't he, I think. But his raw pace is what makes him that player. So I don't want to make him a bit more of a technical player if it sacrifices that kind of cutting edge truth, you know what I mean, Frankie? Like, he has that impact because it's just he comes on and he's spontaneous. Like, I think even think about it earlier in the season, I think it was the Watford game, he comes on and it's just like it's a scramble, but he's just kind of consistent there, but being dogged with it, I suppose.
Yeah, mate, again, I completely agree. I think it's that raw unpredictability that makes him so dangerous, and you don't want to coach it out of him. You just want him to get more consistent, getting that final delivery, that final ball. Yeah, the decision making aspect, I guess. The only thing I say about him working off the bench only, his I think it's his only start for us this year, other than Leighton Orient, was Blackburn. He got man of the match, and he was X in that game. So. I think I tend to agree he's better off the bench, but it might be a bit of an unfair label at the minute.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I think he can have the impact from the start, but it's just with that pace he's got as well. Like you can think like you just want him to come on and just like stretch the tired defenses. Do you know what I mean? Like Derby have got a mixed match of players like Matt Clark in there and players that have not necessarily played a lot of minutes, and you're like, it's perfect. Bring on a marker to have that impact, kind of stretch defenses and cause chaos like he exactly did. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, John Parr, we've always had a comment previously about this, but let's come on to the subject now. John Parr says thought Sturridge looked okay. I think another comment earlier on obviously praised the Chelsea loanee. What was your take on him, mate? Obviously he came on for Brian, I think about the hour mark, so he obviously had half hour of men's senior football in the Championship. I think he only played 5 games, if I remember correctly, for Peterborough in the previous loan. It might have been the season before last. So he's not necessarily played a lot of football, men's football, but he's obviously come in. Looks a bit shaky, I felt, but you can see his technical ability there. It was, clear to be seen, I felt.
He looked nervous, I thought, didn't he, in the first 5 minutes?
Which is understandable, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I watched him in the week against Charlton, and he didn't really impress that game either, to be completely honest. So, you're thinking, who really knows with this kid? But he's got an opportunity in it, so he's going to have to, hopefully he can take it. But what he did add was some physicality out there. He's a big, strong boy. You can tell he's sort of cut out for Championship football physically.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I thought he actually played okay. I think what did help him massively was you could really tell that Cooper, Honeyman, and Saville, I think as well, all rallied around him a little bit. I think protected him, particularly defensively.
Yeah,
they made sure at no stage was he ever one-on-one with his wing or anything like that. So it's difficult to judge a little bit. We'll find out against Palace, won't we?
Yeah, that's it. We will find out because I don't know the length of Brian's injury, but it didn't look good. Anything come out about him just yet? I've not seen anything. You know anything?
No, nothing. I mean, looking back, I watched it back yesterday morning, and his ankle was bleeding quite a lot. So I'm hoping maybe it's just a bit of a physical
impact injury.
And it might be back, but who knows?
Who else can play left back? I suppose that's really all we've got, right? You could maybe try and toy with the idea of. No, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say like Saville left back because he's left-footed, but you don't want that, do you know what I mean? But I can't say that with straight face. There's no one else there, is there, really?
Murray Wallace is the only one, isn't he?
Murray Wallace, maybe Aziz, maybe if you really want to have the back five scenario again. It'd be interesting to see what he does on the weekend, but there you go. We'll come on to that probably a bit later on, maybe. But Mark Murphy here. I remember Jimmy Carter used to be pushed off the ball quite easily. Came back one summer and was too big. Took a couple of months to get his speed and fitness back. And on the back of that as well, we'll talk about Ivanovic. Dean Taylor here says needs a bit of a mean streak in him, Fash to Bash style. Yeah, I think it won't surprise me if the Serb goes away in the summer after one season in the Championship, Frankie, comes back and has that kind of physicality to him. I mean, like he's still developing as a man, right? He's 20 years old. So, but also I'm sure there'll be some sort of program for him to follow from the fitness and sports scientists, and he'll be working on that, I'm sure, and come back only better for the experience he's had this season.
Yeah, and I think I tend to forget that he didn't have a pre-season with us, did he? So
no, came September injured as well, didn't he? They said as well that whole injury thing around him.
Yeah, exactly that. So I completely agree, mate. I think they'll go away in the summer. He'll come back looking and feeling completely different. A little bit like Esse did this year. Esse last season was incredibly lightweight. Come back this year and looked like he'd gained a couple of pounds and of muscle and much more physically equipped. So I think Ivanovic will be similar. Yeah. I hope so. Anyway.
Don't forget to press that like button. Yeah, we're about halfway through. We'll probably go for another half hour. Just depends how it goes and how it flows, but we plan to do an hour. If you're new around here, be sure to like, subscribe, get involved in the comment section. We do try to read out a lot of people's views and opinions, and we obviously give an our say. And if you even want to come on one day, drop us a DM on Twitter. We're more than welcome to get people on and have your opinion by all means. So, yeah, Mark Murphy here. Just don't throw Marco in from the start too early. Get his fitness up. Sammy Fisi says, do you think Roberts will start against Palace? I think I'm on though. Now
yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
No one likes him. Nisbet's been playing well in recent weeks. Lots of talk. Aberdeen will try to make it permanent in summer. We'll take a big loss, but hopefully we'll get a fee. Yeah, I think we'll be happy to see the back of him to us, won't we, Kevin Nisbet? What do you reckon, Frankie?
There's no chance he's playing for Millwall again, let's be completely honest. So if we can get £5 a pack of what's it, we'll take it.
It's interesting because the perception I had of Nisbet, I remember missing that sit of him a few weeks ago. I've not checked their fixtures recently. I can't confess to seeing much. I'm just going to check now whilst I'm rambling on it. But I didn't think he was getting much plaudits up there.
No, it's the same, mate. Last I saw, he absolutely hated him. So
it looks like he's started the last three games, to be fair, and they've won the last three. So he's got a goal and assist. He's got 2 assists and a goal in the last 3 games, to be fair. So it looks like he's maybe found that bit of form for him, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, David Leader-Crabber says, a friend of mine is an Aberdeen supporter, and he says Nisbet has been crap all season. We'd be surprised if they want him unless it's on a free. Yeah, I mean, it does look like he's come good in the last 3 games, though, David. I had the same impression as you, but we'll have to see. Dave Turner... Dean Turner
take a free, by the way. If they offered nothing, we just got his wages off, but I'd be happy with that.
I suspect his contract is, like kind of fair wedge. Like if you can get him off the wage bill and just say see you later and you can reinvest that, right? Dean Turner, I think Cooper has come back to his best with Tanganga next to him. Much more confident. Totally agree, Dean. I think he's been, he's one of those sort of players. Even with like the likes of Creswell, you felt, and even Ballard, if you go that far back, when he's got someone that's a bit more mobile next to him that can kind of cover for him. It's like how Hutch used to when the two of them used to be very good together 4 or 5 years ago. He's more of the enforcer, whereas you got someone next to him who's a bit more of the bit of pace on him and covers him, isn't it? And that's sorry.
Yeah, you want him going up for the header, and you want someone else sweeping behind, didn't you, mate? Looking after him, sort of. He looks much more confident. I think we said this during the week. His passing's improved tenfold in the last couple of weeks.
Many percent. Like done from David Turner. Guys, make sure you like the video. I don't know how many of you have liked it because I can't quite see it at the minute, but be sure to like the video if you're enjoying today and give us your thoughts on the show so far. Goal was a tap in from Davis, he says, about Nisbet. Yeah, not surprised. But listen, there's still a skill to be there, I suppose. Nisbet has been bad, but they are struggling for permanent strikers, apparently, says Beeline. Interesting. Mark Murphy here. Only Alex Neil will know if Nisbet is worth a punt, but I don't see him getting a good reception if he did come back. Hard to say. I think the critics will be out definitely to, they sharpen forks very quickly. But I suppose if he came back and was desperate to make an impression, I think we'd back that. But from what I understand and from what I've seen and from what we see as fans, Harris wasn't having him. And Harris is a good judge of a Millwall striker, I'd argue. Okay, the old school Millwall striker maybe, but there's a reason why it's not really worked for him, right? I suppose.
Yeah, exactly, mate. He'd have to come back looking incredibly fit, incredibly lean, and almost nothing like what we expect of Kevin Nisbet. Like, it has to be a complete 180 turnaround.
Yeah.
But if he did do that, if he come back with his head screwed on, he'll be back. People forgive him quickly. Yeah. Football's a fickle sport, right?
There's a player in there, isn't there? Let's be honest. Like he's a goal scorer. No matter where he's been that sort of player that scores goals for fun, right? So, yeah. But it's obviously the Championship. Doing it in Scotland as well. It's two different kettle of fish, isn't it? No matter what people say, it's a farmers league up there. You look at the teams up there, and, the teams that they play on a weekly basis, the big clubs. It's a walkover for them every season, pretty much. So, Anyway, so we've got a couple more comments here. Dean Turner, with Palace improving the league, do you think they will make wholesale changes on Saturday? They play tomorrow night, Dean, at home against Villa, which I guess that might work in our favour, Frankie.
Can it? I mean, I'd be surprised if they did rest people against Doncaster. They pretty much played a full side.
Yeah, it had a variation there, but it was a first team, wasn't it? Yeah.
If they rest people, it's because they've absolutely bottled it and they want an excuse. Let's be honest.
The whole thing about, let's be honest, right? We were chatting about Palace on Saturday. Palace were chatting about us as well. I saw some videos as well, stuff like that. Listen, it's a derby at the end of the day, isn't it, Frank? And I think if they were to lose on Saturday and it was courtesy of Glasner making changes, like 7 or 8 changes, I don't think the fans would forgive him for it. I mean, obviously, they've got bigger aspirations, I'm sure, but there's a chance here. You look at the FA Cup as it is at the minute. I'll read out the clubs that are still in it very quickly. You've got 1 second. Should have been more prepared for this.
Just while you're getting it up, mate. I guess it's if we happen to play Charlton and Neil rested players and they beat us for the first time in 100 years, you would be saving, wouldn't you?
100%. Yeah. So the fixtures are Preston, Burnley, Villa, Cardiff, Forest, Ipswich, Man United, Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth, Wolves, and Man City, Plymouth, and obviously us and Palace. Right. And if you're a Palace fan and if you win on Saturday and you avoid City and maybe Newcastle or someone like that, and Villa, which is feasible because it's done into the quarterfinals, there's a real chance of a semi-final for Crystal Palace, right? And to have a real chance of winning some silverware. So I think Crystal Palace will take it very seriously on the weekend. I think hopefully they don't play someone like Mateta, because I think Mateta might have maybe Cooper's number, but I think they're going to go for it and there'll be that demand from their fans. I think I can't see any other way around it. I don't think I can't. Can you, Frankie? I don't really know.
No, I completely agree, mate. If it was the other way around and it was us, I'd want us to put a full strength side out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at the stage of competition. I just said, you've got to be thinking you're only a couple of wins away from winning it.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're a side like that, so.
Chris Brown, if he puts points into the start, I'll lose my shit on Saturday. Look, Murray Wallace could come in and might have a game for the ages, right? You never know.
I'm fairly confident he won't. But yeah, I guess you never know.
Happy healing with Luke. Hope you're well, mate. Would this be a better player for us under Alex Neil and the new players we've brought in, potentially?
Yeah, maybe.
You never know. I mean, maybe Neil's maybe admired him from afar, having that kind of affiliation to the Scottish leagues and maybe watched the Scottish Premier League and maybe he's a fan of him. But maybe there might have been something, because he wasn't playing in January that much for Aberdeen. I don't know if he got injured or not. But if the conversation was brought up, I don't think we would have invested the way we have in our forward line and the attackers and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we might have tried to pursue getting him back. I don't know if that was possible or not. But, you know, I don't see a world where Nisbet comes back, to be honest. But that's just my personal opinion on that, my personal take. So we'll see. Does anyone know what's going on with the lad we signed from Brighton? I think he's not. Has he played for the reserves yet? Alicia Baker? I don't think he has, he?
No.
I mean,
dare I say, I think he might be injured, mate.
Lovelace is a knee brace as well, isn't he? But that's a shame. Yeah. I was intrigued to see how Lovelace would have got on with us, to be honest. But I don't know how long Lovelace is out for as well. But I know you've seen spotted the last home game in a knee brace. So, yeah. Dave Clark here. The game against Bristol City is an important game. Just hope we don't sustain more injuries in the cup. Got some tough games coming up. Yeah. I mean, but listen, we've got a chance to beat Palace. We asked the question last week, would you take winning against Derby or Palace? I said I'd take winning against Palace every day of the week, to be honest. Like, the playoffs is a nice thing to aim for, but we're still 6 points off. We've got away games to Leeds, away games to Sunderland, away game to Burnley. We'll have to win all our home games and hope we get some luck away from home to even have a chance at the playoffs. I'd much rather go to Palace and win on Saturday if that was even an option. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think to me it's a huge game. And look, we've got to go for it. We've got to. There's no other way around it. Colin says on the subject of the Palace game, let's hope Villa kick lamps out of the Nigels tomorrow night. Patrick here says Palace are putting out a strong team out. They ain't playing for nothing else this year. This is a cup final for them. For us, it's our second big rivalry.
True.
Sammy Fees, I think we're going to pens and Cooper will score the last pen. Sammy, mate, come on, it's not happening.
The nerves in that end would be horrific.
My heart won't want to take it. I hate to say this, but the gulf between the Premier and Champions is huge. I think Palace will have too much for us, but we'll have fun. Yeah, look, how we're going to win on Saturday is because Palace had an off day and we've managed to play to our strengths, you know, and try to tip the game in our favour, make it. I mean, VAR's in operation on Saturday as well, Frankie, right? Because Cooper will be on the end of a penalty, right? Surely Cooper's won a penalty for us.
What end of a penalty? Is he giving it away? Is he earning it? Because both are likely, mate. You never know with Cooper.
Listen, I think he's got. You're right, both ends of the pitch, but the amount of times, especially when we have Matt Smith and him both attacking corners and attacking free kicks, if we have VAR, we'd have about 2 or 3 penalties a game at times, especially with Matt Smith inside.
And we'd miss him. I think we've got a chance, and it obviously isn't the Palace show, but you've just got to remember it's the FA Cup. In the league, fair enough. If we played in the league tomorrow, they'd beat us. But in the FA Cup, things happen, don't they?
Yeah, true.
You know,
it's very true. Play for under-21s. I think he might have done it. I thought that. I wasn't sure. Benicio Baker, I'm sure that is in relation to. The amount of Premiership teams that are out or are playing each other, Palace shouldn't be taking this game lightly. Exactly, Mark. I completely agree. Baker did play for the under-21, says Wall Lion. Are you not going to the game? Absolutely, Sammy. I would not miss it. Never. Yeah, can't wait for it. This is it. No doubt Palace will take it serious. They'll want to beat us as much as we want to beat them. It's a local derby. They know how much this means to both clubs. Absolutely. Is there VAR or just Samuel that made offsides? There's definitely VAR as well, Patrick.
Yeah, both.
So, yeah. Be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I think we've banged on enough about the Palace game. Let's move on to something else. Me drinking a beer here, mate. You see that they're testing out potentially bringing beer back into stadiums inside the bowl. I think it's women's championship games or something they're trying it on first. Yeah. But obviously it's the start of a bigger thing. I'm sure I had to have alcohol back consumed in front of the pitch. I think Mickey's planning to do stuff in more depth, so I'm not going to try and talk too much about this or pretend to know much about it. But any thoughts on that in the chat, everyone? I've seen a bit of a mixed reaction to it. What's your take on it, Frankie?
I mean, I've been to a couple of games in Europe, and in most European countries, you can drink in the stands, can't you?
Yeah.
The first time I went to a game in Europe and drinking in the stand, got absolutely carried away and got absolutely smashed, mate. Just the novelty done me in, and it was just got silly. But And I think that's the only problem. I think if they did change it, the first couple of months would be horrific. But after that, I think everyone run out of money because £7 pints, and I think the novelty would wear off and people go back to normal, start acting like adults, I guess. Maybe. So I don't see why not. It feels like it's long overdue. It needs to be reviewed.
I think so. I think it was also enforced to try and prevent trouble at games and stuff initially, wasn't it? 20 years ago now, maybe even longer. I don't see an issue with it. For me, like, as someone that goes to the game, I enjoy a pint when I go to the football. Like, it just enables me to go down and come back up. You know, the 35-minute rush. I'll be honest with you, I am a 35-minute loyal, especially if I'm on the piss, right? I'll go straight down at 35 minutes and I'll watch it on the telly outside, like, and have a beer because I'll beat the rush and have a drink at half time. So, yeah, I think for me, someone like that, it obviously helps that scenario. But also you've got, I don't like the culture of throwing beers when we score goals. Or like England in the summer, when you see Box Park and then everyone starts throwing beers in the end. I don't think if someone done it at Millwall, I reckon that there'd be a click around the ears there straight away, right? But I think I don't see. For me, I don't see a world where it happens at the Den, but you can see it, right? Last minute goal, just beer goes in the air flying, right?
As you said, mate, I think at the Den that would be self-policed, and that probably if someone did that, probably dealt with quite quickly.
Exactly.
The only thing about half time, again, in Europe and stuff, if there is still a half time rush.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't actually help that. The only thing it would mean is that the club can make a hell of a lot more money on match day, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Got a bit of a mixed reaction here, anyways. Some comments: beer in the stadium about women's games will make the football more bearable. From Alex S. Matt, you're right. You're bang on this. It's nice in lower leagues, National League and South and below. It's good to have a beer watching a game. Yeah, like even in pre-season, like when we went to Cray Wanderers and stuff, it's nice to have a beer and view of the pitch.
Yeah, summer, yeah.
It's more of a summer thing to it as well, I suppose, in that element. And like another take I've got, like the whole match day food and stuff like that. This is one of my pet peeves about football. Why is it everything needs to be gastro and like £9.50 pulled pork and chips and all this loaded chips and stuff like that? What's wrong with having the match day special? Anyone remember the match day special at Mill? Listen, that when I was a kid, you don't remember the match day special, Frankie? Yeah. Curry and chips. That's all it was. Chicken curry and chips. I think it was £4.50 or so. That was what I remember as a kid going to football. You don't need anything fancy. I want a pie or I want the match day special at football. I don't want to have like bloody frankfurters and all this sort of stuff. I don't get what the obsession is about all this like special food of football. Am I the only one? I just, it's football.
Mate, I'm shocked. I'm shocked you were at the Den as a kid and you've made it this far in life. I think I had one burger and was like, I'm never eating this shit over again. It was
match day special was
chicken.
No. It was for the culture, mate. Match day special at the Den on a Saturday used to be for the culture, mate. When I was a kid, 100% always all over it.
Your immune system is mental.
Nah, it's here you go. No one likes it's gastro, so they can justify the extortionate price. Yeah, 100%. Daily Mill is literally against the law, specifically written, no alcohol in the pitch, which is why box have curtains. Yeah, I mean, well, they're trying to test something out in there, so I don't know what's going to change there. Jonathan Fraser says, I don't want to be wearing 50 pints when we score every time. Yeah, Blockface is full of day trippers drinking. David, thanks, mate. I'm Blockface, loyal, all right? Listen, leave Jeremy Clark stand alone, all right? Horse curry and chips match day special. Yes, CB, like it was an acquired taste, but listen, it was our match day special. David Turner, love the match day special
every week.
Yeah, love the match day special. Could get 2 pints in at half time too. See, people remember match day special was the thing. Down the Den, match day special, curry and chips, always. John Neighbour, why do we still have to have membership for away games? Birmingham happened how many years ago? Surely there could be a conversation to be had going forward. I don't think it's just a club decision, to be honest. It's probably more also please get involved. I'm not going to pretend to know. But I imagine, I imagine there's more to it than just, the club making decisions to it. It's probably enforced somewhere else and also kind of maybe out of the hands of the club sometimes. But it's a valid point. I think for me, especially, membership is one thing, but the pay on the day, like especially at away games, that's definitely something that should be reviewed. Like if we've got the technology these days to do it. If you could type up a membership card, even if it's at an away turnstile, you should be able to buy a ticket for the game. I think if you've got a membership and you can prove you've not bought one yet. I don't think it'd be that difficult to do. Mill send stewards to games. I'm sure there's ticket office staff that maybe take the tickets up there as well. There should be some sort of functionality to do it on the match day, because I know a lot of people that last minute will go, I might drive to this game today, and you can't. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's something that's definitely stuck in the past and should be reviewed, because take a bit more gates and a bit more people travel to the games, I think, to be honest. Even Darren, hope you're well, mate. Match day special was the bollocks from Craig. Totally agree. What else do we want to talk about, Frankie? We've got 10 minutes to go. Any other topics you wanted to cover, mate? Bit on the spot a little bit there.
A little bit, mate. There was one thing I noticed on social media this week, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Go on.
Why does the monk chant get on everyone's nerves, or what home fans' nerves, so much?
I love it.
Why does it rile them up so much? Like, what is it particularly about that seems to get under people's skin?
Good question. I don't know. I love that it does. I shared today on our socials. It's a year today since the Southampton game. Obviously, we discussed briefly on Friday how far we've come as a club and all that sort of stuff to it, right? But the monk chart, I think he went for 2.5 minutes in that video. I think when it gets going, I love it in away games, try and keep it going and stuff like that, to be honest. It's like, it's something I think the players recognise as well. I think they refer to it sometimes. Like, it's a proper kind of, we're with you here. We're here to try and help. Like, be that 12th man kind of thing to it. I just love it. It does get on their nerves. But why does it piss them off so much? I don't know. It's just, I think also Palace, I'm sure, will have some sort of graphic or something done on Saturday. Remember when we played them that year and they done the picture, the monkey and stuff like that. And they done the mirror with it as well. But I think the monk chant is unrivaled, I think. Not a lot of clubs have something similar to it, really, do they?
No, there's something properly tribal about it. And when you're in it and it's proper reverberating around you, it's something else, and it's a proper spectacle. But I just find it so funny that it's the one thing that really seems to. I couldn't give a fuck what other fans come up and sing. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. There's also something to it, like when you go to someone at Derby, it's enclosed the whole way around the bowl. So like when the chant's happening, it does echo through it. It kind of reverberates. Like, you do feel it. Definitely something that it's unrivaled, I think. I mean, on the back of Southampton last year, best away day in recent memory. I mean, we've been spoilt this season, I feel like, a couple of times. Leeds obviously winning 2-0 this season, but you know, what other game sticks in the memory in recent times? Say the last 5 years. I know we had COVID in there as well, but we've not had many big spectacle away games, have we? I think Southampton's definitely up there for sure.
I think Southampton is the one that really stands out, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's been a couple against Luton, always quite good days out because it's experience going to Kenilworth, but it's not a fantastic ground, is it? And we don't tend to win there, really.
No.
As I said, Leeds. There's been things where there's been no cup runs and stuff. There hasn't been many great away days, is there, of recent years, which is probably why the attendance is so poor. I think there's one from Connor there. Forest before lockdown is a fantastic shout.
Yeah, Forest before lockdown. Yeah, I used to talk about that on the podcast during lockdown every single game, like every single show we done. At Forest, we won 3-0 because I was clean onto it, because that was literally our last game before lockdown. It was a good way to go into lockdown, I suppose, and not see your team for a couple of years to go off on that high, right? But I kept spang on about that away day. Just like Forest away is always a good away day. You start at Hooters, right? And then you work your way through to the Meadow Ground, or whatever it is, Notts County. Have one at the bar that they open for away fans. Then you work your way to the ground.
The Birds used to finish, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so Forest is always, and then afterwards you go to town, beer killer. On you go. So Forest is always a good way, to be fair.
It's quite a good week in Forest as well, when you can get there the day before. Have a proper night out.
Yeah, for sure. Hotel. John Neighbour, if it's authentic, the monk chant, no other club have that. What we have for sure. The monk chant has got longer and longer in the last 2 seasons, says David. It used to be in 2 parts, mid and wall. I think that's obviously a few years back for sure.
Go back to the authentic thing. I think that's what makes me laugh, because every club that comes down to Millwall these days, it's football in a library, that stupid shush thing. It's the same 6 chants over and over again. Millwall's a shit, I want to go home, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We're probably the only club doesn't really subscribe to sort of generic modern football chants. We keep it traditional.
Yeah, it's true.
And everyone hates it.
We also don't do the old, like, the modern chants. Like, they were doing it on Saturday, like I think Kamara Roof, like, he's just signed Roof, because I think he had the number 9 shirt. It's like, Kamara Roof's on my mind, and he's Derby's number 9. Stuff like that, like, we will never do that for Millwall. Stuff like We're simple. It's 3 syllables. Like when Tom Bradshaw was here, Tom Bradshaw. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I was surprised when Fleming got a song. To be honest with you.
The Serb chant is quite adventurous for Millwall fans. Like, he comes from Serbia, and like Mihailo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I suppose that is a coin off to like the Dennis Wise song. We used to have our Wise in a little bit, so we reuse it. Like, even when we had John Marquis, it's like John Marquis. Like, the 3 syllable chant is always good for us. David says Watford away. That was a good away day, to be fair. Sheffield Wednesday 4-0. That was obviously a top away day, Matt. You're right. Joe Edwards' his first game in charge. Good day in Sheffield that day, to be fair. A few too many of them, I have to say. Yeah, it was a very good away day, that was, to be fair. And also, Southampton last year 2-1 and Luton this year 1-0. Yeah, it was a good away day, to be fair. Everton. All right, it's me more. Yeah, it's true. Under Cotter and Millwall the way that day at Forest, like, they loved it. They were right in front of me, to be fair, Alex. So if you watch it back, you can see my pretty face in it if you really want to. But I wouldn't recommend watching that back to see my face anyway. But yeah, they were right in front of me that day. I didn't actually know them too much at the time. They just kept making weird noises and doing like filming it. But then obviously afterwards I saw it and you can see us in the background celebrating the goals and stuff. So it's class. John Neighbour, go on, I'll read this one out for you, mate. We were 1-0 on Saturday with Tanganga. Trust me. I trust you, mate. I trust you.
If we win 1-0 and Tanganga gets it, particularly if it's like a 91st minute, that would be the best away day.
Yeah. I can't imagine it, to be honest. But I can imagine it, actually. But I'll get delusional a bit, though.
It probably won't happen, but
no,
you can't dream this point being a football fan, right?
Exactly. I do think we'll turn up on Saturday. But will they have too much for us? Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be a proper cup game, nonetheless. And we'll save our predictions for later in the week. Anyone seen the clip of Day getting in the mirror when he was filming? Yeah. It's funny. March Palace out in a couple of weeks to prepare that film, isn't it? So it'll be interesting. The Mark chant was hair raised at the old dent, worked its way around the whole grounds. You're going to get your head fucking head kicked in was an old classic chant. What about those you're going home in London ambulance or something as well? That was another one.
Yeah. You still get some of these in away days, didn't you? The songs you get in away days are much better than home.
I always enjoy doing we're the best behaved supporters in the land when we win, and then we're a right bunch of bastards when we lose. We haven't done that chant for a little while. I do want to bring that one back. That's a good one. Cooper 95th minute goal, VAR offside. We're going to definitely get shafted for VAR at the weekend, Gary. I don't dispute that.
It will kick off, mate. it'll be the first of VAR induced riot. Awful.
Mass riots, exodus outside the ground. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I was just looking forward to the day out. Like, so not far away. Don't get me wrong. And I know it's early kickoff, but like I mentioned earlier, like away games at 12:30, we seem to have a bit of joy, mate. Luton, Leeds, Derby. It's going to be good. Come on, this is what it's about, right?
Controversial opinion here, because I know these 12:15 kickoffs get a lot of stick. I don't mind a lunchtime kickoff.
No,
you can't drink so much before. Fair enough, but if you win, you can go out have a proper session after.
Yeah.
And because you've won, you just stay out all night. It's much better.
Yeah, that's true. Instead of the beat teller, you'll never make the station. I do find with the 12:30, Frank, if you start too early, though, you don't make the night time. It's a slight problem.
Oh, yeah, you got a headache. Yeah, you get tired. Yeah.
You got to pace yourself here. John Neighbour, 3,700 Millwall fans seeing me on Saturday. Going to be something special. We are due a Wembley trip. Been too long. The creativity of songs at Portsmouth when the lights went out was brilliant by the Wall fans. Very true, Matt. 3,700 fans also saying you take it up the arse of the Palace, yeah, for sure. Where was another chart I just saw there? There was another one I just saw that I missed. You'll never make the station yet. You said from Interstellar. I like Will Be Singing at the Den, or Will We See at the Den? That's another one as well.
I haven't heard that in ages either.
No, Will We See at the Den? Yeah, it doesn't come up too often, does it? But yeah,
probably because we never win away.
Yeah, how shit must you be winning away? But we actually win away recently, so you can't really sing that one. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few good chants on the weekend nonetheless. My favourite one that's building me up to Palace, I've played it on a couple of shows. We're going to probably go out to it again in a short while. But we're starting to wrap up anyway, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Frankie, thank you for joining me, mate. And starting to anticipate the weekend now, mate. I'm starting to get buzzing just before it, mate.
Yeah, no, we said we weren't going to talk about Palace, and slowly we built towards it, and towards the end it's all about old songs we could sing at Palace. So we probably failed on that front, but yeah, getting closer in it. couple more days to go, boys.
Yeah. I think I'm a bit anxious about it now, but by Friday, by Saturday, I'll be adamant we're going to win it 3-1 or something stupid and start making crazy predictions and stuff, because this is what it does, Millwall. Like by the start of the week, you're still living off the high, or you're still living off the low from the defeat or the win, vice versa. And then when you get towards the end of the week, it's like, right, I'm over the defeat, or I'm over that now. Get me to the next game. And I tell you what, this morning I was already thinking, right, get me to Palace at the weekend. So it's definitely a big game for us. No messing around about that. I'm not going to play it down. I think it's a proper away day for us. And 13 years since we've been to Selhurst Park. I'm looking forward to it. Massive trip for us on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to wrap the show up here, guys. Thank you so much for your comments today. It's been much appreciated. Have a good rest of the week. If you're new around here, be sure to like, subscribe, and obviously give your feedback. 24 years, we've been living next door to Alice.